to start recording this. What time is it?
Hey, welcome to the video. We are the JCB Hunters. That's Cody.
That's Estefan.
And we're solving this treasure.
JCB Hunter here. We're getting the bus ready. We're going to
We're like a mile and a half in on this trail.
A place I probably never would have come if it wasn't for this treasure hunt. There's treasure inside. I just want to say thanks to John, and I want to say thanks to everyone who's following us. We love each and every one of you. We're still looking for the treasure. Look how beautiful this is.
Yeah, we're just gonna read through the book. We're not gonna read to you guys, but we have each read the introduction. We've actually already read through the entire book a few times, but now we're gonna do a talk through. So we're gonna start on the introduction. We're gonna give our little nuggets of the introduction, and we're gonna take you guys along on that journey. We're gonna do every chapter of the book the same way, and our goal is to put it out every week.
Video series starting here with the introduction of There's Treasure Inside by JCB.
My editor thinks this book is unlike any that you have ever read before. Yeah, have you read any books like this? No, neither.
No,
This is
no chance.
This is my first treasure hunt. I've done like escape rooms.
I guess you probably read Ready Player One, but you didn't know it was a treasure hunt originally.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about that at all.
I had heard of Forrest Finn's before someone found it. I might have read the poem, but I don't think I ever tried.
Didn't even try to solve it?
Yeah, I was just like,
wild. I feel like I would have had to have tried.
Yeah, I guess.
I've hidden a treasure somewhere in the United States. That's the first fact. Yeah, I didn't do it. So it's somewhere in the United States.
Yep.
Cool.
Treasure is consisting of gold, jewels, historically significant items.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool
Bitcoin.
There,
it's huge.
You're looking at it right now.
So this is waiting for somewhere for someone to find it.
So he separated the contents of this fortune into 5 custom-made treasure boxes.
5.
And he secreted them away all across the United States.
Boom, 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 boom.
He says he spread them out in the hopes that one of them will be close to you.
And one of them will be close to you?
Yeah, that's the goal.
So that's 2 of them that we probably are going to get.
Yeah, 2 of them. Okay, since there's 5, he says there are 4 chapters in the back of the book.
Yeah, for the smaller 4 boxes.
And it says, to quote, each of these 4 chapters is dedicated to one box. It contains the clues and information you will need to find it.
Okay. The clues and information I need to find it are in the chapters in the back. And in the back we have the Forrest Finn, Pokemon, past and future,
Appalachian Trail.
Application footpath.
The 5th and final box, so the lion's share of the box here.
Big one.
There's no one particular chapter devoted solely.
No grand cipher.
In fact, it's cover to cover. For instance, there may be helpful information found right here in this introduction.
Almost every
chapter contains at least 1 clue.
At least 1 clue. So there could be a chapter
that contains nothing.
That has 3 clues.
There could be a chapter with 3 clues.
And there could be a chapter with nothing.
Yeah.
Where he differentiates clues and hints.
Okay.
So like clue versus hint.
What do you think is the difference between clue and hint? Joy?
Yeah.
He goes on this wonderful, heart-touching rant about joy and finding joy in life. And that we're all treasure hunters.
He probably says it 16 or 17 times.
16 or 17 times, he says joy.
Bountiful, as much for sharing joy, emotional joy, joy was rather easy because joy beckons to me. Joy rarely accepts. One continuous act of joy, joyous adventure, joy to your life, joy becomes easier. So much joy.
To share my joy.
Yep.
That might not be all of them, but it's...
So it's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then he mentions something that we could possibly try to read farther into is, this brings me closer to the point about what else besides clues
Hints.
to a hidden treasure does this book have to offer?
Lessons.
So essentially, yeah, he's gonna tell us, hopefully in this next page, what else besides clues are in here.
Yeah.
So then you could maybe say that those things don't have clues in them. That feels kind of hard to say, but
It'd be tough. They're like the bed for the clues to lay. The bed of lessons for my kids and feelings and history.
I was reading it the opposite of that.
So like whenever he has like a weird line that just doesn't fit in, that's probably the clue.
Yeah, that could be a way to look at that, perhaps. Like if something just started clapping feverishly, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be kind of weird.
A mountain decaying, or a lion decaying on a mountain of catnip.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
That's a weird thing you would say. Why would you say that?
Why would you say that?
We have a music reference.
Ooh.
Orchestrating.
Orchestrating.
John is a musician. Or was a musician. Maybe you're always a musician.
Yeah, you're always a musician.
So there could be
some music clues here.
Yeah, some relation to music throughout the book. So that's going to be something we're going to keep an eye on. The objects in our treasure became my co-authors. To finding the largest treasure box are found within the histories of these treasures. That's big.
That's big.
So now we know where some of the clues are. It gives us a little starting point.
Have you noticed any, or picked up on any writing style things? There's a list of things we're going to be like looking for throughout the rest of the book. So maybe things in parentheses or italicized.
Yep, those double letters.
Double
he
letters.
seems to use a lot of words with double letters.
Yeah, I think that could just happen, but we'll look at it. We'll look at it. So in the how to read this book section, there's a pretty straightforward, straight from John's mouth here. It says, the first thing I would advise is to read this book once through, thoughtfully, indulge in it. I have subtly placed many clues within the text of this book. As they are not always overtly obvious, you may or may not pick up on all of them right away.
Oh, down here it actually contradicts the part in the intro where it says, to help you locate these boxes, I wrote 4 chapters. Each of these 4 chapters is dedicated to one box and contains the clues and information you will need to find it. But back here, in the how to read this book, it says, remember, the 4 chapters in part 2 of this book contain primarily, not all, primarily all you need to discover the location of the 4 boxes. What you doing to us, JCB?
Yeah,
That's confusing. So we know that it contains all the clues. So all the clues to find the small boxes are in the 4 chapters. That's what it says in the intro.
Yeah. But there could be information in the first 23 chapters that like help you decipher how to use the clues that are in the chapter.
Right. So yeah, so then only primarily what you need is in just those chapters. So you could need other things in the other part of the book, perhaps. You don't have to be a genius, you're alright.
Okay. Will it still work if I am a genius? We should ask that.
We should have a funny. No complex ciphers, no grand secret code. So they're gonna be like small little nuggets of clues, not just one way to figure it all out. It says time to time, some historical fictional flair is added. So like, to hide clues for something is perhaps you have the bank of history information.
Yeah.
That you could tie to a location. Perhaps there's numbers that could correlate to something else.
Yeah, or even by happenstance.
But you can't change any of that.
Yeah, that piece of history always took place in this city or in this state.
Mm-hmm. But then the historical flair that he adds
Can be anything.
could be anything. It could be whatever he wants. So that could be where the clues lie.
So I mean, if we can call out where the historical flair, like, what do you think that is? Like, oh, in the Amelia Earhart chapter, she didn't fly alone.
Or in the Chalice chapter, talks about him putting psychedelics in the mud.
Oh yeah, and tripping in the maze thing.
Tripping in the maze.
Yeah, he for sure couldn't have known all of that stuff. So that has to be like,
Yeah, some little extra flair.
yeah. There's a few times in the book I feel like he mentions the picnic, and that you could find at least one of the treasures where you would be having a picnic, which I would say means it's a really easy trail.
Yeah, true. Like a sidewalk trail.
Yeah, sidewalk trail.
Or like a nice crushed limestone trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picnic
Easy
tables.
walking.
Picnic tables in like,
Yeah. Yeah. Take a friend. Got him. Bring a picnic. Do every time. Find a treasure.
next time.
Next time. What could be better than that? As Crux would say, a whole day of walking. That's better. Nothing's better than a whole day of walking.
Well, we could do it 5 times.
Have fun. You won't need to understand every clue or hint to bring together the full picture.
I won't need every hint.
You won't need to understand every clue or hint to bring together the full picture.
See, that scares me. That makes me feel like it's very much more vague. Do you remember how I'm like trying to think about what a good hide, opposite of solve,
Okay.
what a good hide would be.
Okay. Yeah.
So, for me to say this is a treasure hunt, and for me to, if I was doing it and I wanted it to be a good hide, I would want the clues that I put in the book to really narrow down the list of trails that you could think it would be on.
Okay.
So if I had a list,
Like for sure it narrows it to the state.
for the, yeah, no doubt the state.
Like you think a state hint or a state clue is like for sure. Like
Yeah.
it'll be like some clue will tell you it's in Missouri.
Maybe not specifically, but I could get you specifically to a trail in Missouri,
Okay.
and then that you would almost have no doubt. I wouldn't have to have the clue that it's in Missouri. But a good solve would like get you to 1 or 2 trails maybe on the list. If you had a list of all the trails on all trails, and then I'm gonna slip in things, no dogs, hot in the summer, no fire Pokemon, and then you're gonna try and take these and cross off, cancel out trails on all trails, blah, 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 blah. And then I say a good hide or a good, would be that if you use all your clues, you would have narrowed it down to
5 trails.
5 trails. And it could be even more specific, like they could be a hard 20 hints that you have to get to, but then it could tell you the trail that you need to be on, how far you need to go off trail.
That would be nice to know. How far off trail are you supposed to go?
Yeah.
And where off trail.
And where off trail.
That should be
Yeah, like
probably like clues deeper than the trail, but for sure clues to get you to the trail.
I would think so.
So what do you think like the minimum number of clues would have to be? Like how many clues do you think you're looking for, say in one of the small box chapters, or even the full shebang?
Well, after talking to other people that have made treasure hunts, and they say that they're confronted with things and solves that they didn't even intend, and it's all just happens, accidental like coincidences. I'm gonna need a lot, I think, to be sure. Like more than 5, more than 6. I'll feel good around 12.
Okay.
Maybe I'd be like, oh, 12.
Yeah, like
things
counting
are
them out,
lined
it
up.
could be like the state. Could be one.
Yeah.
The area in the state could be one.
Yeah.
Maybe like
It told you that.
place on trail to go off.
Go off.
Maybe a trail name.
The trail name.
Perhaps that's 4 clues. Maybe before state it's region. And then what you have like confirmers, maybe there's not a trail name. Maybe it's like
Trails around it.
Instead of trail name, it could be like, names of multiple trails to get you to an area.
Yeah.
So that could be like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then maybe like
a few that are
boots
like
on the ground,
boots
like
on the
full
ground.
boots on the ground trails. Like 2 or 3 of those.
At
like
least.
True like confirmers that.
Where you just walk up on it and you're like,
and you wouldn't even know it's there unless you hike the trail.
yeah.
So
like having 3 of those would be dope. So that's like up in the 10 to 12 range of hints that you would want to feel good.
To feel good.
Yeah.
And then the treasure's there.
But what he's saying is like, you don't even need. I put a lot in there, and you don't need all of them. So in my perfect solve, you had to have all my hints and make them all work together, and they got you to the right place. But Jon is just saying,
you don't even need all of them.
I put a lot of shit in there, and I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping he's not saying just like find 5 or 6 things and then take a wild guess.
No, I think he's saying more like, I gave you so many clues to the perfect spot. You don't even need all of them to still get to the perfect spot.
Yeah.
Like I gave you 40 clues to get you there, but 5 of them are the same clue in different ways.
Yeah. Well, okay, so if there's 23 chapters,
At least one clue.
At least one clue. So let's say he doesn't get crazy.
Almost.
And let's say it averages out to 1 clue per chapter.
Okay.
That's 23 clues for the lion's share.
27.
27. Okay, yeah. Okay. How many clues do you think are in the small chapter for the small box?
Okay, so yeah, maybe 27 for the large one. That's a good way to ask it. Well, I think we could softly base it off of Forest. Do you think all 4 of them have similar number of clues? Yeah, that's kind of hard too, huh?
Yeah, people say that Forrest had like 9 hints in his.
But Jon was
poem.
upset about his being too vague, so I imagine he would add more than that.
Yeah.
So if those 9 was too vague, either his 9 are better, or he added more than 9.
Yeah.
12.
12 things in the, like, what's in the Appalachian Trail picture? Are there just like 12 little photos?
12 photos. Let's see. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, possibly 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8. Depends on what you call little pictures.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's a good amount of things. So, like, I feel like a good solve, you'd be able to, every one of those things in this thing
is something.
You'd be like, dope. Yep. This is where I started, but it actually on Google Maps, and I had to find a place that was named this, and then another place that was named that, and then I zoomed in until the roads looked like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then I started at 17. That's the road name or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every one of these things, and the treasure's here between these trees that were like, you know,
cut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good thoughts.
Don't steal those.
Watching you. Well, we want to wrap this up. That was the intro and how to read this book.
Of There's Treasure Inside by Jon Collins-Black.
There's Treasure Inside by Jon Collins-Black.
By Jon Collins-Black.
Black. Jon Collins-Black.
Black.
Jon Collins-Black.
Black. I gotta work on
Black.
Jon Collins-Black.
Look left.
Black.
Got the
Black.
Jon Collins-Black. Black.
What's that
Black.
called?
Jon Collins-Black.
He can't turn
Black.
that.
Black.
Jon Collins-Black. Black.
Black.
Jon Collins-Black. Black.
Black.
Jon
Collins-Black.